Okay, what is up everybody? Welcome back to your favorite Cyclops-led punting tutorial. Cyclops? No, I'm a Triclops, right? The three-eyed wonder. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about the last part of the beginner series. Okay, we covered your drop. We covered what I think about the drop, things I think you should do, things I think you should avoid. We covered leg swing by itself, right? Today we're gonna cover the steps, okay? And this is gonna be two separate videos because I wanna cover a two-step and a three-step. Now they're similar, but they're different enough. I think they deserve their own videos. Today we're gonna start off with the two-step, okay? The reason why I wanna do both two-step and three-step is because I have kicked both two-step and three-step. And I believe that they have their points, but I also believe the mentality behind them is completely different going from one to the other, at least for me. So this is kind of all from my perspective, how I felt about it, everything like that. So today we're gonna be talking about a two-step. So as we get into this, the first thing I want to talk about is what is the goal of taking our steps, right? What do we want our steps to accomplish? So our steps are to do two things, just two things, very simple. It is to set the direction, right? So we've talked about how we want everything to be in a straight line, okay? Nothing is going to set that line like your steps. If I catch the ball and start walking to the right, that is where everything should be in line. If I catch the ball and want to kick left, I should walk to the left to try to kick it that way. That is going to really set the tone for your punting and your punting career. Your steps should always be in a straight line. You want to practice this? Here we go. The drill for practicing this is going to be very easy. It is just the walk and drop drill, okay? But you're on a line and you want to practice walking and dropping straight down the line. Now, as much as you might think it's easy to walk and drop in a straight line, you can practice a little bit. Try turning and walking in a straight line, okay? Because this is what we'll do with our steps is we'll catch the ball. If we're trying to go right, our torso is gonna be shifted a little bit less, okay? So that way our torso is facing the long snapper. So that way when we catch, we'll be catching out here and putting down the line where we're about to walk, okay? So if you think it's just all easy, go ahead and try shifting that torso and catching and snapping this middle part of your body back to get your alignment over. And you'll see it actually becomes a lot harder to keep everything on the line than you think. Because it'll be very often that I see guys go here and then now all of a sudden their angle's off. Or I see guys trying to go the other direction and now all of a sudden they're walking here. Or another problem, they'll catch and they might be walking straight, but guess what? Their ball's inside. Or on the other way, they'll be walking straight, but their ball's outside. Now they gotta swing out to it. So lining up your step and your drops is gonna be very important. Okay, so that's just some drills you can work. Is literally just get on the line, practice catching at an angle, and then snapping back, and then boom. And if you notice, if you watch some of my other videos, whenever I'm working by myself and I'm catching snaps, you'll almost always see me catch a snap like right here, do like this, because it's so important to constantly be practicing catching these off perfect snaps. Because honestly, high school guys, college guys, you're gonna get a lot of those. And your career is going to be defined by how well you can handle imperfection outside of the things you can control, you know? Because guess what? There's a wide array of operations going on around you. There's blocks, there's a snap, there's, you know, coverage. The way that you can handle just making sure that this is perfect every time is going to be a defining, pivotal part of your career. Okay, so we know that it's supposed to generate power. We know that it's supposed to give you the direction. So now let's talk about what makes the two-step so special, so unique, so important. So when I'm thinking about being a two-step punter, there are two things that really come to my mind that I'm focusing on, that I'm controlling. The first thing that comes to my mind is I am focusing on being a concise punter. It is about precision and explosion, okay? Because the two-step is really nice because you get to have a little bit of patience in the backfield, right? And this is one of the hardest things when you're doing a two-step is a lot of guys end up trying to take this third step because they're just in such a rush. But because you're only taking two steps, there's no need to be in a rush to start taking your steps. But really what you want to do is just very precisely, just catch in place very quickly. And then from there, once you have that precisely there, it's time to explode. So here's how we do this as a two-step. Okay, here's how we do it as a two-step, okay? So when we're thinking about exploding as a two-step, a very important thing is how we take our first step. Our first step is going to generate all of the power for our two-step, okay? So how we want to take our first step is a very short toe up jab step, okay? What that means is we don't want to be out here, okay? Because then you're using all of your power to push you forward just to pull you up to neutral, and then we're not getting any power pushing you forward, okay? If we're here, all of our power is going to be able to launch us forward, as opposed to if we're here, all of our power can pull us to right here, okay? And then can't get us much further. So the truth is we want to be activating the quad on our first step and activating our hammy on our second step, because our quad wants us to push forward, okay, like a sprint step. Then we want to open up our second step with a left foot sort of heel to toe motion. What this is going to do, getting that heel up, is it's naturally going to push this knee down, contracts the quad, so now all that we have to generate movement going forward is this hamstring. And notice what it does to our hip angle too. When we take the second step, it naturally gives us almost a perfect 45-degree hip angle. So let's take a look at it. Jab step into a heel toe step. Here we go. Jab, heel toe. And as you can see, it generates a lot of power just from that. I'm not giving this 100, 200% power. That was a nice little 40, 41 yard ball. And I'll put the hang time up there just to kind of demonstrate that at a very little power, I'm able to generate a lot of force just by using those good steps. One of the biggest things I see that kills guys is they take their first step like this, and then their second step is way too long, and they never quite are able to pull themselves through the ball, okay? So that is the important part of the two-step. It is all about that precision. Now, a big pitfall that I see a lot of guys do is start moving too quick on the two-step. So naturally, your two-step is going to be faster because you're only taking those two steps. So give yourself a beat to make sure that you catch and place that ball and then go. Because what I'll see guys doing is this little number. They'll be catching and they're still moving as they're placing that ball. So what that does is it causes a lot of disruption, because as soon as that right foot goes, it's like less than 1 second before that ball's hitting your foot. So go ahead and make sure you have about 0.5 to 0.7 seconds to catch and mold. So that's like here. So once you have all that, then you're ready to lock and load and explode through with good form and just generating a lot of velocity. So then the next part I want to talk about is this is going to be your first introduction to direction. For a two-step, you really heavily want your feet to already be pointed in the direction that you're going to kick. So go into the head cam here. If I'm going to be kicking right, I really want both of my feet already facing right, because as soon as I catch and place, it's go time as far as where my angle and my direction are going. As opposed to a three-step, which we'll talk about later, where there's a little bit more wiggle room because you're starting with this left foot, which can drastically change the direction in which you're going. With your two-step, you have a lot less time and a lot less margin for error than with a three when it comes to direction. So what you want to do is go ahead and have your feet angled at where you're trying to kick. Now this angle is going to change for everybody depending on what level you're at, what level you feel comfortable with. Ideally, you should always be practicing to try to aim towards the sideline, but realistically, you have to play to your miss hit, okay? This is my rule. Some coaches will disagree. Some coaches say play to your best hit. I say play to your miss hit, which means on the right side, I play my ball a little further right because my miss hit fades back left. And I've saved myself a lot of times with this kind of sharp angle because I'll kind of miss it and it just skates up the sideline and just takes off. But now with my directional left, I play a little bit further to the right, because my miss hit, I want it to not completely take me out of the game as far as having a decent average. So let's take a look here at what you do. So you go ahead and get lined up. So my long snapper would be directly downfield for me. But if you look at my feet are pointed right across that 50-yard marker right there. So that's where I'd be trying to hit, is just kick it across the 50-yard marker, give me a good fading ball. So if it fades right, it lands on the sideline. If I miss it and fade left, it should be still a pretty playable ball. This is a good marker for a lot of young guys, is 35 yards away, kick it towards those numbers, okay? Because if it goes over those numbers and you hit a dinger, that's just going straight to the sideline at 55 yards. If you hit it less far than those numbers, you're gonna get a playable ball. So here we go. As I go to catch, I immediately want to catch and then snap my torso back to a muscle memory spot, okay? This is a big thing for me. One big thing I try to get guys to do is have a very good quick snap back to your spot, okay? I don't want you to start taking your steps before you're back in your spot. So the very first thing you should do as you catch the ball, so as you're molding or even before you're molding, is go ahead and snap it back to your spot. So that way, as you finish molding, everything's just in a straight line from there. So it would look something like this: catch, snap, and then now that we're here, we can go ahead and take our steps, and that's not a very good ball, but we can go ahead and take our steps and finish downfield towards our spot. For the last one, so that's pretty much everything you need to know about the two-step. It's explosive, it's precise, it's very patient, it's a good kick for pretty much any punter to learn. It's very stable, keeps you short, protects you against rush, keeps you out of trouble. Okay, so it's a good kick for anybody to learn. So yeah, thank you guys for coming along. This is about the two-step. The three-step is gonna be the next video, and I hope to see you guys there. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day. Yeah, that's pretty.